Good. Let us continue with the next question. Well, it says rotate the letter A anti-clockwise about the origin. Okay, so it's as if this A have a little stiff leg up to there, and this leg is 6 long and 2 up. If I have to rotate it anti-clockwise, it means that this A have to go anti-clockwise. Okay, so this long part will now be in the y-axis, and this shorter part would now be in the x-axis. Okay, and there's my letter A. Good. Let's continue. Stretch the M vertically with a scale factor of 2 with the x-axis as the invariant line. The x-axis will not change. However, from the x-axis, this measures 2 up, and I need to stretch it with a factor of 2, so 2 times 2 would give me 4. So the vertex there of M would be now there at the top, and this vertex is 4 long, or from here, from the x-axis to the top one is 4, so times 2 would give us 8, and there is our M. So that's a stretch with a factor of 2 with an x-axis as the invariant line. X-axis won't change. Good, so the next bit, they ask us to mark the point Q so that PQ, maybe I should just write it down here. Okay, that was the next question. Okay, so that PQ is going to be -2, 3. Okay. Oh boy, I didn't write that right. So let me just rewrite it. PQ equals -3, 2. Okay, that's better. Okay, so PQ must be -3, 2. So I'm starting off at P. I'm going to move free spaces in the x direction, but it's negative free spaces. Then I need to move 2 spaces positively in the y direction, and this would be the point Q if P is over there, and that's the line. That line there is the line PQ. Okay, good, in that direction. Good, let's go. So there's P at 6, 6. I'm going to go free spaces, negative free spaces, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go positive 2 spaces, 1, 2, and the point Q would be over there. Okay. Mark the point, mark and label the point Q so that PQ equals -3, 2, and there we've done it. Now calculate PQ correct to 2 decimal places. So there I've written already what is calculate PQ. It's the absolute value of PQ. That means it's the distance of this vector. The point P we know is 6, 6, and we know the point Q from our grid is 3 and 8. I can just read it down. So to find the distance formula is the square root of x squared minus x1 squared, or x2, plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, I substitute those values in. Okay, let's go. X6 minus 3 squared plus 6 minus 8 squared. It doesn't matter in which order you do them. We can use the calculator. Now where's mine? Okay, I'll just have to do it in my head. That would give us 3 squared plus that's -2, so it would give us 4. So it's 9 plus 4 is 13. So D equals the square root of 13. Okay, so be careful here. I don't have my calculator close by, so I'm going to run and fetch it. They ask us correct to 2 decimal places. So you are going to press the little key on your calculator that says SD, and that will give you an answer correct to 2 decimal places. So a number, decimal place. Okay, Good. Let's continue. Just put those down here. And that, we're nearly done there. Okay. Q is there. Now mark and label the point S so that PS equals -4, -1. So PS, -4, -1. So from there, I need to go -4 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Let me just from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, -1. So there we go. There's the point S. Okay. Now they ask us mark and label the point R so that PQRS is a parallelogram. So we're looking at PQRS in that order. So if I start here, PQ, R must be somewhere here, S. Okay. Now let's look at that. We've moved 1, 2 spaces in the X direction or in the Y direction, and 1, 2, 3 spaces in the -3 spaces. So it would be 1, 2, 3. So let's just have a quick look. From this point, we need the same thing as that one. S 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me quickly just check here. How do we 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, there we go. There should be the point R. Okay, let me quickly check again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Where's the 3, 2? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So from this point, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and there is PQRS. That's a parallelogram that we are talking about, and it should be nice parallel sides. Okay, good, and we're done with question 3. Let's carry on with the next question. Okay, question 4. Question 4 gives us a little wheel and with some shaded areas. So I'll quickly draw the wheel for you. Okay, and there's 10 little segments to this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know my segments are not all equally equally distributed. Yours on your paper is very nicely done, and it's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and they have shaded a bit of it. So they've shaded these top 4, number 1, 2, 3, 4 have been shaded. Okay, good. So let's continue. Okay, the wheel is spun and then it stops. The fixed arrow points to one of the sectors. Each sector is equally likely. This is important information to remember. Okay, A. The wheel is spun once so that one sector is selected. Find the probability that the number of sector is an even number. Okay, so maybe we'll on a different sheet of paper so that we can change it around. Okay, okay, so that it is an even number. So the probability that it would be an even number is going to be, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 even numbers out of a total of 10, and that's my answer. Okay, good. Number 2, dotted 2. This sector is shaded. there are 4 parts shaded out of a possibility of 10. So that would give you 4 out of 10. 33. Okay. It is even, the number is even or the sector is shaded. So probability that's even or shaded. Now, even we know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and then 1, 2 are odd numbers that are also shaded, so it would give us 7 out of 10. And then number 4, the number is odd and the sector is shaded. Okay, so the probability that it's odd and shaded would be, let me quickly write it down. So it's odd, it's 5 out of 10. There's 5 odd numbers, and is always times shaded is 4 out of 10, and that would give us 20 out of 100, okay, or equal to 1/5. But for probability, we normally just keep our numbers as it is there. Okay, that was question A. Let's have a look at question B. The wheel is spun twice, so that each time a sector is selected, find the probability that both sectors are shaded. Probability that both are shaded. So we have shaded and shaded. Okay, so the probability that it's shaded is 4 out of 10, and shaded again, so that would give us 16 over 100, and that's the answer. And that was number 1. 32. Move it up slightly. Okay, the number of the sector is shaded and 1 is not. Okay, so 1 is shaded and 1 is not, so it could be shaded and shade not, or the probability of not shaded and shaded. Okay, so we know that shaded is 4 out of 10, not shaded is 6 out of 10, or is always plus. That would give us 6 out of 10 times 4 out of 10. So that's 24. That would give us 48 over 100. Okay, and that's done with that question. With that be 2. Let's continue with the 3 dots. Eyes. Okay, the sum of the numbers in the sector, 2 sectors, is greater than 20. So the probability that the sum of the numbers must be greater than 20. We only have up to 10. So 10 times 10, 10 plus 10 would only give us 20. This is not greater than 20. So the probability of getting that would be equal to 0. Good. Number 4, they ask us, the sum of the numbers in the 2 sectors is less than 4, so it's a probability of getting the sum must be less than 4. That would give us the probability of getting a 1 and a 1, or the probability of getting a 1 and a 2, or the probability of getting a 2 and a 1. Okay, so now we need to quickly look at that. To get a 1 is 1 out of 10, or is plus 1 out of 10. To get a 2 is also 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 10, and that would give us 100 plus 100 plus 100, that would give us 3 over 100. Okay, and that is that one done. Now the next question is question 5, and here we have to really think a little bit. The product of the numbers in the 2 sectors is a square number, so the product of 2 numbers must be a square. So we're looking at the product of 2 numbers. That would be either a 1, a 4, a 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, or 100. There you go. Okay, so that are we looking at. So to find the product 1, it would be 1 times 1. Okay, so it would be 1 times 1. And or 4 is 2 times 2. 9 is 3 times 3. Okay. 9 can also be 9 times 1. 4 can also be 1 times 4. Okay, 9, yeah, we've done 9, and so on. So you have to continue on that effect up to that you have all the possibilities to get those numbers with two multipliers, and the answer is a staggering 18 out of 100. Okay, good. So that would take a little while to continue on that one. Please see if you can do it, if you can find the answer there. Okay, that concludes question 4. Let's quickly go to question 6. Okay, on the 1st of February, we should have done question 5 first. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's just go back a little bit. Question 5. Okay, there you have a table and you have to find the values of L, M, N. Okay, so L, M, and N. We have a function fx that's equal to 24 over x squared plus x squared. And now we have to substitute the value of 3.5 in for the x to obtain L. And if we do that, that would give us 14.2. M, we have to substitute the value of 4 into the values in the places of x. So maybe let's just do that. If 4 would be 24, 4 squared plus 4 squared. Okay, and then if we do that, we should get answer of 17.5. And n, we substitute 4.5 in, and you should have 21.4 as an answer. Okay, now on a scale, using a scale of 2 centimeters to present 1 unit on the x-axis and 2 centimeters to present 5 units on the y-axis, draw an x-axis up to there. Okay, so let's read it carefully. X-axis 0 to 6, y-axis 0 to 40. So we're only interested in the positive side. So I'm just going to draw a line down here. I'll show you now. And okay, so they ask us on the grid, we have to represent 2 centimeters, 1 unit on the x-axis, 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis, 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis. And we're interested up to 6, and then 5 and 2 centimeters to present 5 units on the y-axis. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So that should be your scale. So it's a little bit larger. Okay. So there's my grid, and now I have to plot, probably I have to plot these values for x and y. So let's quickly have a look. my first value there is 38.1. 38.1 for 0.8. So there's 0.8. And 38.1 should be there. Okay. Then at 1 it is 25. At 1.5 it is 12.9. 10, 11, 12.9. Okay. At 2 it is 10. At 2.5 it's 10.1. At 3 it is 11.7. 10, 11.7. At 3.5 we have 14.2. At 4 we have 17.5. 17.5. At 4.5 we have 21.4. At 5 we have 26. Go up a little bit, 25, 26. There you go. At 5.5 I have 31. 30, 31. Okay, a little bit more higher there, 31. Okay. And at 6 I have 36.7, so 36, 50, 55, 56.7 should be about there. Okay, and now we have to just draw this as a one movement on I can maybe just fix that a little bit up. Okay, and that's it. Doesn't need to be a work of art here. It just needs to be one smooth line, and there we go. Okay, good. So that was question B, and we've got the full 6 marks for this. Okay. Then question C says draw a tangent to the graph at x equals 1.5. So there at 1.5, at this point we have to draw a tangent. A tangent is a point that will touch the curve at only one place. There you go, and I've drawn the tangent there. Okay, so this is the tangent. Then what else do we have to do? And estimate the gradient of the curve at that point. Now that estimate the gradient, just change my page. This estimate the gradient just means that we've got to work out what the gradient would be at that point. Okay, so I know that gradient is delta y over delta x. So I need to write down 2 points from that tangent line, and if I do that I get a point 1 and 15. Okay, you could get something else, and the point 3 and oh sure, 6, say 0.5. Okay, so it's according to your line, but your tangent line should be evenly spaced, and you read down the values carefully from your grid. So delta y over delta x. So I'm substituting these values in. 15 minus 0.5 and 1 minus 3, and I should get a negative gradient. So this is 14.5 over negative 2. So something like that, 7.25, negative 7.25. For my line, my grid, there is a variety of answers that could be correct here. Good, let's go on to the next part. We're still busy with question 5, yes. Then draw a straight line joining the points 0, 2 and 6, 32. So this is question D. Draw the points 0 and 20 and 6 and 32. So first let's draw the points. So 0 and 20. Sorry, let me move it up. The screen is a little bit small there. 0 and 20 and 6 and 32. 6 and 32. That's 50, 32. Okay, so I've got to draw this line. Okay, there you go. Now what do I have to do with that? They will give us some information there to do a little bit more. So we've done the drawing. Write down the equation of this line in the form y equals mx plus c. So we have to find what is the gradient, the m value, and we have to find the c value. So first of all, let's find m. M is delta y over delta x. It is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we will have 32 minus 20 over 6 minus 0. That would give us 12 over 6. That will give us a gradient of 2. Okay, now I know that I have a formula y minus y0 equals mx minus x0. I can use any one of those points. I'm just going to select the easiest one there. So y minus 20 equals 2x minus 0. That would give me y minus 20 equals 2x. I add 20 on both sides, so y equals 2x plus 20. Okay, and that's the answer for that question. Good, let's go on to the next one. Use your graph to write down the x values of this point, the intersection, the line and the curve, and the y-axis. Use your graph to write down the x values of a point of intersection of this line and the curve. Okay, so we want to find the values where the curve and the line are going to intersect, and that would be over there on those two places. You are going to, on your grid, write down those values. So I have it at 1, and those values intersect for me at 5.5 on my grid. Okay, but please do that from your graph. Okay, so the next one, they ask us, draw the tangent to the curve which has the same gradient as your line in D1. Draw a tangent to the curve which has the same gradient as your gradient at D1. Same gradient as D1. Okay, so there's D1. We want to use a gradient that is the same, but it must be a point of tangency. So let's go. Just move down, and there I have. There it is. Okay, and this on this question, the number there is number 4. Okay, write down the equation of this tangent line. Okay, so we've got to find the equation of this tangent line. It would have the same gradient, and we can just find the y-intercept, and that is 5 in this case. And let us quickly do that. Where's my equation there? So for D5, we have the equation. It must have the same gradient, so y equals 2x. It will have a different x-intercept. The c value, according to my drawing, is 5. Okay, and we are done with question 5. Good. Let's move on to question 6. Okay, on the 1st of January 2000, Asaf was X years old. Okay, let us quickly do that. Asaf, Ashraf, sorry, Berkey, and Claude. Okay, so X years old. Berkey was 5 years older than Ashraf, and Claude was twice as old as Ashraf, so 2x. Okay, so I've done the hard work. Now we can answer the questions. Write down in terms of x the ages of Berkey Claude on the 1st of January. We've already done it, we can just answer it. So Berkey was x plus 5 and Claude 2x. Okay, next one, number 2. Write down in terms of x the ages of Ashraf and Berkey and Claude on 1st January 2002. So we know that Ashraf, it should be x plus 2, Berkey should be x plus 5 plus 2, so x plus 7, and Claude will be 2x plus another 2 years old. Okay, next one. The product of Claude's age and Ashraf's age on 1st January is the same as the square of Berkey's age on January 2000. Okay, so we've got to just be a little bit careful in reading here. Claude, the product of Claude's age and Ashraf's age. The product of Claude's age and Ashraf's age. Product is multiplication, is the same as the square of Berkey's age at 2000. So this was 2000 and that one is 2002 as Berkey's age in 2000. So it would be x plus 5 and it's the square of that. Okay, now what do we do with that information? Write down an equation in x and show that it simplifies to the following. Okay, so I've got to literally just distribute here and find the answer. So I just do that distribution. So 2x squared plus 4x plus 2x plus 4 equals x squared plus 10x plus 25. Then I simplify this, move all these terms to one side and simplify. So x squared negative 4x negative 21 equals 0, and that's exactly what they wanted. Okay, now the next one, number 4, they ask us solve this equation. If I solve an equation that's equal to 0, that means that you have to factorize it, set each factor equal to 0. So one would be positive and one would be negative. 7 times 3 would give us 21. 7 and 3, so x negative 7 equals 0, or x plus 3 equals 0. Let me move it up a little bit. So x equals 7 or x equals negative 3, and that would be the solution. Okay, good. Let's go on. Question 6, and we go on with number 5. That asks us, how old was Claude on 1st January 2002? So Claude, the 2002 was 2x plus 2. We have two values, x equals 7 or x equals negative 3. Now, you would realize that no one can be a negative age. You are born and then you just get older. You can't go a negative age. So this answer would be extraneous. We're not going to use that. So 7 plus 2, that would give us 14 plus 2, an answer of 16 years old. So Claude was 16 years. Okay, good. So question B, Claude's height in meters is one of the is one of the solutions of this equation. So h squared plus 8h minus 17 equals 0. Solve this, show all your working and give your answers correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, so if it says correct to 2 decimal places, we know that we won't be able to factorize this thing, so I'm going to use the quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation because my leading term is twice the exponent value of my leading term is twice the size of the exponent value of my middle term. So h equals negative x plus or minus the square root of, no, look at me, x, b squared negative 4ac all over 2a. So h, and we can fill the values in. The value of b is 8. A is 1, C is negative 17. That gives me a positive discriminant, so I'll be happy. We can have a solution to A. And I tap that into my calculator the first time just with a positive, the second time with the negative sign. And the answers that I have, if I do that, is 1.744 and they're negative 9.744. Well, just be careful, they say 2 decimal places, so 1, 2 decimal places, 1, 2 decimal places, and I'm looking at that 4 won't change my answer, so it would be 1.74, or the height would be negative 9.74. Now think again, write down Claude's height to the nearest centimeter. Poor Claude can't be a negative height, okay? So to the nearest centimeter, this is in terms of meters because they said that in our started off that Claude's height h meters is one of the solutions. So we know that 1.74 meters, to convert meters to centimeters, I have to multiply it with a unit multiplier. It's 100 centimeters over 1 meter. Okay, now just look at that. Meter and meter can cancel out, and I multiply this one with 100, so that would give me 174 centimeter, and that's the answer. Okay, so question 6 is done. We're moving nice and fast. Let's continue with question 7. Okay, question 7 gives us a group of students that sat an examination. Each student gets the grade A, B, C, D on a pie chart, and there is 36 students that got an A mark. Okay, so this is a very important piece of information, and the angle there is 108 degrees. Okay, so just quickly look on your paper there. Calculate the total number of students who sat the examination. Okay, so we know that a percentage of a number equals another number. It's silly, but a degree measurement of a number is also equal to another number. We know that this would be 108 over 360 of a number would give us 36, and then if I simplify it, I will get 120 students. So there's 120 students that sat there for this exam. Okay, for 2, how many students did not get an A? It would be the 1 minus the probability of getting an A. So it's 120, that's full amount of students, minus the 36, that would give us 84 students that did not get an A. Okay, 3I. The ratio of a number of students getting a B, C, or a D, a B, C, a D, is 4, 5, and 3. Okay, find the number of students getting each grade. So the total of this division would be 4 plus 5 plus 3, and that gives us 12. So to find the B, it would be 4 out of 12 times the total number of students, 120. So that's for a B. Then for a C, let me move it up a little bit. It would be 5 out of 12 times 120. And for the D, it would be 3 out of 12 times 120. Okay, so 4 out of 12, that would give us, not getting an A. Sorry, it's not 120 students that we are talking about, because we're not talking about the full amount. We are talking about this 84. So my apologies, ladies and gents. You've got to keep your head here, okay? And that would give us being 28, 35. Do that on my calculator, 21, okay? A third of that. Okay, work out the angles for this pie chart. So this one was question 3. I'm just going to do question 4 here. The angle of each one of them. Okay, so that is 28 over 100 and possible of 120 students times 360, because I want to convert it into angles, 360 degrees. That would give me 84 degrees. So I've got to do the same for this one. So it's 35 out of a possible of 120 students times 360. That would give us 105 degrees. And for the last one, 21 over 120 times 360, and that would give us 63 degrees. And that's the answer for those questions. Okay, good. Number 5 says, in the ratio, find in the lowest term the number of students with an A and the number of students with a B. Okay, so for a no, the A is 36, that was one of the givens, and we've worked out the B is 28. I plug that into my calculator as a fraction. My calculator will simplify it as 9 over 7, and the answer then would be 9 over 7. Okay, that is question B, A done. Let's move on to question B. We are given there a histogram with a frequency density and some information, and then a grid, and we have to work out some values there on A and B. Okay, we've got to find what is P, Q, and R. Okay, so what do I know about frequency density? Frequency, okay. Density is frequency over my class width. Okay, so my frequency density, I've got to be a little bit careful here, because I probably have, there's probably some arbitrary value, K, that we have to multiply it with. So let's just check it. The frequency density in the first one is, well, the frequency is 25 over my class width, that was 20, and if I do that, I need to just check here the histogram. Let me just see what 5, 10, 5 frequency density. How did I get that first initial value? So the result, okay, we don't know, is some frequency is P, the class width. Let me quickly just see here. Why did I use a 40? When I worked it out, I had a 40 here. Okay, okay, that gives me 5 over 4. Okay, and I know that this is the ratio of things. Okay, so that's better. I'll get it now. I'll get that value now, the K value now. So if I multiply my value with a 5 over 4 with a number k, it would give us a frequency density of 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can see that the value of k would be 20. Okay, now as soon as I've got that, things get a lot easier. Okay, so I know that for the first one, mark it. Okay, so my p-value is going to be frequency density, that is 40, as times an arbitrary value. Oh, let me rephrase this whole thing. This is a little bit of a messy bit here. Okay, I need to just check here. What did I miss some stuff here? Because somewhere I think I've missed it. A group of children were asked how much money they had saved, and the histogram shows the results. And the frequency density there, the numbers there are not marked. It is marked in the money, in the M direction. But they gave us the first bit. They say frequency density. So that would be the frequency density. Frequency density is frequency over class width. It's 5 over 4. So we know that if we have to find it, k would be 20. Okay, so that is for arbitrary value. So 40 equals kp over 10. So each one of those little lines would give us 5 little units. So if you have to work out that 25 there, that would give you 5 little units. And then the value of p, because k is now going to be 20, would be 20. Okay, and then we carry on from there onwards. Q is going to be 20 equals 20q over 10. The class width is 10. So the value of q, if I work it out, would be 10. And let's do the same thing for r. R would be what? It would be a frequency that we are not quite sure of. It is r, but 20r over my class width. That is, look at that, 50. And we know that is a 10. And if I multiply that, r gets 15. And that would be the end of this question. Good, we had to do a little bit of thinking there. Okay, I must admit. Good. Okay, question 8. Sarah investigates cylindrical plant pots. The standard pot has a base of radius r and the height of h, and pot A has a radius of 3r and a height of h, and a B has a radius of r and a height of 3h, and C has a radius of 3r and 3h. Write down the volumes of A, B, and C in terms of pi, r, and h. Okay, so we know the volume for a cylinder would be the area of your base times the height. The area of a base is pi radius squared times my height. Okay, so for number A, the volume of A, so pi stays as it is, r is 3r squared, and my height is just called h, and we can do that. That gives us 9r or pi 9r squared h, or times h, and that's a. Okay, so b would be pi radius. My radius is just r squared, and my height is 3 times. That would give me or 3 pi or pi 3r squared h, and that is it. Okay, c, my radius, so pi, my radius is 3r, and times my height, that is also 3h, and that's going to give us 9 times 3 is 27, so 27 pi r squared h, and that is the volume of the first three values. Okay, so find in terms of the lowest term the ratio of a volume A, B, C. So the ratio A, B, C. Okay, so let's write it down. So this one was 9 pi r squared h. This one was 3 pi r squared h, and that one is 27 pi r squared h. Okay, we can see that we can cancel out all these h's, we can cancel out all the r squareds, and we cancel all the pi's out, so we'll be left with 9, 3, 27, and I know that 3 can go into all of them, so it would be 3, 1, and 9. In simplest form, that would be the ratio. Good, so question 3 asks us, the surface area of a standard pot is S centimeters squared. Write down in terms of S the surface area of the similar pot. Okay, of the similar pot, the standard pot, so it would be S. It would be number C, because C is just 3R and 3H, and they are called similar. So remember, if I have a smaller one and I enlarge it, it will be, that's called a similar pot. So it's not equal to one another, actually. They are similar. Similar, it's just an enlargement of the other one. So C would be that larger one. So the surface area of a cylinder pot. Okay, so I presume there will be some things planted inside. So I'm just looking at the base and I'm looking at the side. That would give me the surface area. So the area of a base is just going to be pi r squared. Okay, but the area of a cylinder there would be the circumference of a circle times the height. Okay, so the circumference is this part here, that will fit around the circle and the height. Okay, so the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, and my height. Now we've got to just fill those values in. We are looking for the one of a similar value, so we're looking at C, and we know C is 3r and 3h. Okay, so for the circle, I'm having a little space there. So for the base, it is pi 3r squared, okay, plus the area of a circumference is 2 pi 3r, okay, times 3h. So that would give us 9 pi r squared plus 3 is 9 is 18 pi r h, and that's in terms of h and r. That should give us the surface area of a similar pot. Good. Number B. Sarah buys a cylindrical pot plant with a radius of 15 centimeters. Sarah Guys, okay, a radius of 15 centimeters and a height of 20 centimeters. She wants to paint it outside surface area, the base and the curved surface area. Calculate the area she wants to paint. Okay, she wants to paint the base and curved surface area. So there you go. So R is 15 and the height there is 20. And we've already got the formula to find the surface area. So we know the surface area is pi r squared for the base, plus we know the surface area for the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r times 8h. Okay, so pi r, that gives me 15 squared plus 2 pi r 15 times my 20. You tap that into your calculator and you obtain the answer. Okay, Sarah buys a tin of paint which covers 50 meters squared. How many pot plants of this size would you be painted on the outside surfaces completely using this tin of paint? So it is 50 meters squared. We know that this would be in terms of centimeters squared. So I need to divide this answer by something in terms of meters squared. Okay, I don't have my calculator with me, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, but let's call it blah blah blah. Okay, so to convert this into meters squared, we take the blah 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 centimeters squared over 1 times 1 meter over 100 centimeters, times it one more time because it is centimeters squared. Cancel them out and you will have your answer in terms of blah blah blah. Okay, and we can just call that xxx meters squared and you'll obtain your answer. Okay, good. So that concludes question 8. Question 9. Write down the 10th term of a following sequence. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can say term 10 would be 10. And the nth term, so Tn equals a plus n minus 1d. I know it's an arithmetic sequence because it have a common difference of 1. A is my first term, and 1 plus n minus 1, that would just give me n. So my nth term in this case is just going to be n. Okay, so that was number 1i. Let's go to number 2i. Okay, so we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And the 10th term, we'll look at just now. We'll work out what is the 10th term. The nth term, let's find that first. Again, I know it's an arithmetic sequence, so I can use my arithmetic formula. A is 7 plus n minus 1. D is again still 1 because there's a common difference of 1 between each of those terms. So 7 plus n minus 1, that would give me n plus 6. So that's my nth term. So to find my 10th term, I just substitute 10 in the place of n. So 10 plus 6, that will give me 16. And my n, my T10, the value for it must be 6. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. 3, so 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Again, arithmetic sequence, Tn equals a plus n minus 1d. It follows that d is 2. So 8 plus n minus 1, 2. That would give me 8 plus 2n minus 2. That 2n plus 6. So my 10th term again would be 2, 10 plus 6. So 20 plus 6 is 26, and that should give me my 10th term. Good, and then the following one is a little harder. Those first couple of were just plain straightforward arithmetic sequences. Let's look at the next question. Consider the sequence 1, 8 minus 7, 2, 10 minus 8, 3, 12 minus 9, 4, 14 minus 10. Okay, and then we've got to write down the next term and the 10th term in the form ABC, in the form AB minus C, where A, B, and C are integers. Okay, we want it in this form. So the next term, so 1 is from my first equation. Then 8 minus 7 is from my second equation. Is that what? No, 8. 8 is the third equation, and C is then the second equation. So we have, let's just quickly write it down here. We've got from, that would be I, that would be from 3, question 3, that would be from number 2. Let's check if it's the same. I, that one is 10, so it is from 3, and that one is 8, it is from 2. Okay, again, A, 1, 2, 3, and 2. Okay, so the next term in that sequence will just be, let's write it down, it would be 5, 16, and 10, 11. Just the next term. Okay, write down in the form A, B, C, where A, B, C are integers. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more interesting. I know the sequence for my first one. So for my first one, it was N. For my second one, we had it as N plus 6. And for my third one, we had it as 2n plus 6. Will that help us? I really hope so. I really hope it will. Oh, we only want the 10th term. Okay, sorry. The next one is write the nth term in that form. So we are just running, I'm just running a little bit too fast there. So the term 10. Okay, so the 10th term of I we found was 10. The 10th term of 3 we had as 26. And the 10th term of 2 we found was 16. Okay, and that was number B1 done. And now number B2, they ask us to find the nth term of this particular sequence. Well, I'm not quite sure how to do that. I'm honest with you. I will have to think a little bit and come back to you on that one. Or maybe let's just quickly see if I can work it out and not disappoint you. Okay. What about what we've written down some stuff there in on the previous one. What about it if number 1 is n, okay, from the previous question. 2, we said was n plus 6. Number 3 is 2n plus 6, okay? So I didn't know how to do this question, but somehow we have to manage, because we haven't seen this ever before. Now look at the form. This we said was 1. We said that part was 3, and we said that part was 2. So if I substitute those values into that kind of expression, then we'll have the nth term of this, okay? But we know was 1 bracket. Let's make it maybe square brackets, because there's a lot of brackets to be done. This is 3, so 2n plus 6 will come in there, minus 2 would be n plus 6. Aha, and there we have it, finished. Okay, a little thought had to go in that question. Thank you, ladies and gents. That concludes this paper. Enjoy, have fun, do them on your own again. I'll see you on Monday.